Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a truly poetic and powerful story about an 82-year-old lighthouse keeper. We're going to unpack what it actually means to be a beacon of hope in a world that's changing at lightning speed. Because as you'll see, this really isn't just a story about a building or a job. It's this profound look at lifelong service and that quiet, steadfast heroism that happens when literally no one else is watching.
Think about it. We live in an era where we're basically glued to glowing screens guided entirely by automated GPS systems, right? But today we're exploring why a physical light on the horizon, one maintained by actual human hands, provides something that cold, hard technology never can. And that is hope. It's this incredible contrast between just navigating by satellites and navigating by the sheer, enduring steadfastness of the human spirit.
Section 1. A light on the horizon.
So I want you to picture this. We travel to a rocky, ancient stretch of coastline in India, where the waves are just relentlessly crashing against time-worn stone. And here, we meet Arumugam Pillai. At 82 years old, he stands as one of India's very last traditional lighthouse keepers. He lives right inside this ancient stone structure, sharing his home with the seabirds circling overhead and the rhythmic sound of the ocean. He's a literal, living bridge to a bygone era of maritime history.
58. Just let that massive number sink in for a second. For 58 years, more than half a century, Arumugam has climbed the spiral staircase of that lighthouse every single evening. No days off. That is an unbroken dedication to lighting, inspecting, and maintaining the beacon that guides both small fishing boats and massive ships safely home. Just imagine the sheer willpower required to keep that up for a lifetime.
Section 2. The Rhythm of Service.
His daily rhythm is just incredible. Every single day starts in those quiet blue and gold hours of 4:30 a.m. He steps out onto the balcony, watching fishing boats disappear into the morning mist, and he gets to work. He doesn't rely on automated sensors. He stands there with a notebook and personally logs the weather, the wind direction, wave heights, and visibility. It's this intimate, daily communion with the elements.
And he has this profound respect for the ocean's unpredictability. I absolutely love this quote from him. The sea changes every hour. You must greet it every morning. He doesn't see his task as some boring chore, you know? It's a greeting. It's a relationship with this vast, powerful ocean. It's just a beautifully poetic way to frame what anyone else would call routine data collection.
And greeting the sea is really just step one. Keep in mind, the man is 82, yet his daily labor is intensely physical. He climbs more than 100 worn stone steps. He cleans every single window. He polishes that massive great lens until it's absolutely perfect, and then he checks the intricate gears rotating the beacon. Every single movement is deliberate. Every bolt matters.
When asked about it, he just smiles and says, "A lighthouse cannot afford a careless day." And wow, that perfectly hits the nail on the head. His meticulous routine is literally a matter of life and death. One careless day, a smudge on the lens, one unoiled gear, it could mean tragedy at sea. His daily service is the silent safety net for countless strangers.
Section 3. Guiding through the storm.
Now, it's one thing to maintain a lighthouse on a sunny, calm afternoon, right? It is an entirely different ballgame during those terrifying monsoon nights when the winds are literally shaking the heavy stone tower and driving rain completely erases the horizon. That's when his presence is most critical. Under those terrifying conditions, he flat out refuses to leave the beacon. He stays up there as the last line of defense against the absolute dark.
The gravity of how he views his job is stunning. He says, "When sailors cannot see the shore must see them." He doesn't look at the lighthouse as just a building. To him, it's a living, watchful guardian. In the most desperate moments of a storm, he becomes the very eyes of the safe harbor. And the real human impact of this is captured so beautifully in this one specific memory. There's an elderly fisherman who comes to visit the lighthouse, carrying a faded photograph. Decades ago, during a violently turbulent storm, it was the beam from Arumugam's lighthouse that helped this man's father navigate safely back home. Because of that one single night, the fisherman returns every year just to say thank you.
So how does the keeper respond to this intense, lifelong gratitude? He just nods, super humbly, and says, "The light did its job." He gives all the credit to the beacon. He removes his own ego from the life-saving equation completely, seeing himself simply as a servant to the light.
Section 4. Passing the lantern.
As retirement finally looms for Arumugam, a young marine engineering student arrives to study the historic mechanisms of the lighthouse. And it sets up this fascinating intersection. On one side, you have Arumugam's old-world spiritual guardianship of the sea. On the other, the young engineer's modern academic fascination with gears and lenses. But right in the middle, they connect. They both deeply care about how it all works, and Arumugam takes the time to teach her the human element required to actually preserve this technology. He shares this incredible piece of advice with the student: machines last longer when someone understands why they matter. I mean, what a profound takeaway for us today in our tech-obsessed world. Technology, no matter how advanced, needs human care, context, and purpose to endure. A machine without a why is just metal and glass. Knowing his retirement's right around the corner, he doesn't just coast to the finish line. His final inspection is treated with the exact same steadfast dignity as his very first day. He oils the gears one last time, meticulously cleans the lantern room. He even touches up a small section of the railing with fresh paint, leaving it better than he found it. Then he signs the maintenance log, his handwriting perfectly steady.
Then comes the literal passing of the torch. Right at sunset, which is obviously the most symbolic time of day for a lighthouse keeper, he respectfully places his old brass maintenance lantern into the hands of the young engineer. It's a quiet, incredibly powerful transfer of responsibility from the old world to the new.
As he hands it over, he redefines his entire life's work with this one sentence. The light doesn't belong to the keeper. It belongs to everyone searching for home. It proves he was never just a mechanic tending a light bulb, right? He was a custodian of safety, guarding something that truly belonged to the weary travelers of the world.
Just picture this cinematic scene as darkness falls. The solitary lighthouse stands strong against the endless ocean, its brilliant light sweeping across the sea, starting its slow rotation just like it has for over half a century. And Arumugam is just standing silently on the balcony one last time, watching those distant boats turn into tiny stars resting on the water.
I want to pause for a second and just let you absorb this final thought from him. Reflecting on his 58 years of service, he smiles and says, "People think I kept a lighthouse, but all my life I reminded strangers that no matter how dark the sea became, there was always a light waiting for them." He was literally maintaining hope.
To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative question to ponder about your own legacy. In a world navigated by automated screens and cold technology, how can you be a steadfast light on the horizon for someone else? Who in your life is navigating a dark sea right now, and how can your own daily rhythm of service help guide them home? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this one.